Alex Jones is hanging on for dear life to Trump. You know, he's gone back and forth a number of times. We covered the story when he was drunk giving some sort of interview where he's like, I'm so sick of Trump. I'm so sick of Trump. We also covered when he was really snuggling up to DeSantis because DeSantis was doing some vaccine skeptical stuff. And then Alex's audience, there was some backlash and he came out and was like, no, I said I love Trump. That's why Trump's the best. So he's like gone back and forth, but he's trying for dear life, Trump. And it's kind of funny because this is the guy who fancied himself the ultimate outsider. The ultimate anti-establishment guy. I speak truth to power. I'm the conspiracy guy. I keep it real. You know, I throw bombs at the system, bro. That's what I do. And then he turns around and supports a deeply pro-establishment Republican president who continued like all of George W. Bush's policies and hands the keys to the kingdom over to corporations and billionaires. Well, anyway, so he has on a right-wing pastor by the name of David Scarlett. And I love this conversation that they have.
Nobody's going to blame Trump if he comes out and says he was wrong, but now it's coming out, it's bad. So I'm really worried about Trump.
Well, I can tell you that I know he was briefed on this last week, a very strong briefing on the severity of the jab. And
let me guess, was that General Flynn?
Could be somebody like that.
Yeah, and Trump came out in USA Today 2 days ago saying, okay, I might be wrong about the shot. That's good news.
Yeah, he took.
It's okay if Trump was wrong. We just don't want him to continue on when it's wrong.
I was told that he took that meeting very favorable and had a change of heart after that. And I heard that from several different sources that are close to him, that he brought it up. And he's taking Bible prophecy very, very serious right now, too, I'm told. He's looking into it.
Well, we know Trump's good because the enemy comes after him like nobody else.
Oh,
nobody's going to blame Trump.
Oh, I love that last part. That last part is so telling. Look, this is how these guys define their politics. They might try to sugarcoat it and say it's not the case or come up with some other sort of rationale, but ultimately, why do they love Trump? Trump triggers the libs. Their whole worldview is through that lens. Like, who pisses off the libs the most? They annoy me. I hate them. So anybody who gets them triggered, mad, upset, etc., that's my person. That's my person. I will die for that person. And so that's why they still, after all this time, they still love Trump. They cling to Trump. That's so telling. Because, I don't care. Even if you're somebody who's on the left, if you define your politics as like anybody who pisses off the conservatives, anybody who triggers the right, like they're my go-to. I find that so brain dead and so vapid. It's a politics of reaction. It's not a politics of substantive improvement. It's not like sitting down, starting from scratch. Hey, how do we craft a society that's good for the most number of people, that brings about the most joy, the most happiness, the most fulfillment, the most meaning, the most purpose, the fairest, the most pro-justice? It's not, it's like, it's a totally unserious way to interface with the world. I don't like that person. Whoever pisses off that person, that's, you're my person. You're my guy. And that last line is just so, it gives the whole game away, right? You're not involved in an interesting political project. You're not an intellectual. You're not a truth teller. You're just a reaction guy, and you're guided by your hatred of the other side. It's like tribalism 101, right? Now, the issues they bring up, oh, it's so great. I love it so much. To him, this is like the one litmus test thing. It's like, you need to be against the vaccine. I would love to hear Alex Jones' full, unfiltered thoughts on the vaccine. Would he go as far as to say there's a microchip in it? Would he do that? Would he go as far as to say it's going to kill like 80% of the people who took it within the course of 5 years or 10 years? Would he say, like I've seen many say, it's a gene editing thing? Like, how far would you go with your anti-vax stuff? Was the vaccine a plot by the globalists to depopulate the earth, right? Like, how far would you actually go down this rabbit hole of the anti-vaccine stuff? Because he is super duper anti-vax. And I'd love for him to lay it out so you can just hold it up with the reality, right? Like these guys, even at this late date, they still don't admit the most obvious point of all, which is that even after all this time with all these different variants of COVID, you still, according to all the evidence, all the studies, have protection from severe illness, hospitalization, and death if you take the vaccine. Now, of course, the criticisms of like, originally they said you won't even like spread the virus anymore if you get the vaccine. Like it just, you kill it in its tracks. That was the original. And that wasn't true, right? I mean, it did that more so with the original variant when the vaccine came out, but even then it wasn't perfect. And now at this point, it doesn't stop transmission much at all. In the sense that when you get the virus, you have it for a shorter period of time, it might reduce transmission, but you could still certainly pass the virus on. But these guys don't even acknowledge the obvious point of like, any chart that looked into this will show you, hey, if you get the vaccine, you are way more protected from severe illness, hospitalization, and death. In the charts, the unvaccinated deaths and hospitalizations spike, and the vaccinated ones are still relatively flat. So they won't even acknowledge that. It's just vaccine is evil, vaccine is bad. And if Trump pushes that, that's the real deal breaker. Amazing. That's the deal breaker. Mr. Anti-Establishment Alex Jones. It wasn't a deal breaker when Trump did a corporate tax cut where 83% of the benefits went to the top 1%. That wasn't a deal breaker for him. It's not a deal breaker that Trump supports the fair tax, which was just passed in the Republican House, by the way, which is a 30% sales tax on all Americans. That's a massive tax cut for the wealthy and a massive tax increase for the working class. It wasn't a deal breaker when Trump served the predatory payday loan industry and dropped the lawsuits into them, dropped the new regulations that were supposed to go against them. That wasn't a deal breaker for him. It wasn't a deal breaker when he signed a pro-torture executive order, which, remember, when George W. Bush was doing torture and doing NSA spying, Alex Jones was critical of it, to his credit. But then Trump did a pro-torture executive order, increased the drone war, continued NSA spying. You don't have anything to say about it. Negative now. Now all of a sudden Trump did it, and that's my daddy, right? So, Jesus Christ, man. And then the biblical prophecy, yes, that's my favorite. Because it goes from dumb to dumber. Starts with, the vaccine stuff, and then it goes to, he's taking biblical prophecy really seriously. What does that mean? First of all, I don't think that's true, thankfully, right? I think they're making it up. But if they weren't, like, what does Trump think he's like the second coming? Does he think he's personally fulfilling biblical prophecy? Some of the far right in Israel sincerely believe this. Because Trump basically gave them the green light. Yeah, whatever. Ethnic cleanse the Palestinians. I don't care. Right? We're gonna move the embassy to Jerusalem. So Trump didn't care. He super served the far right in Israel. And so they kind of do view him as like, oh, this guy's like holy and he's fulfilling prophecy. And I don't know. Has that gotten to his head? Does Trump actually believe that himself? I doubt it. I doubt it. He's just a power-hungry narcissist. It's not like he's sitting there reading Exodus saying, yes, line 17, it says that, if you interpret this way, then you understand that I am the chosen one. He just thinks he's the chosen one without any religious fundamentalist backing or interpretation. He's taking biblical prophecy seriously. What? How do you get through to people like this? I don't, for these guys, I don't think you can. But I hope their audience is smart enough to see through all this garbage, right? I really hope so. Because Jesus Christ. Jesus. Because Alex Jones, he was deplatformed from everywhere. And then he still has a decent-sized audience over on band.video or wherever he streams his stuff now. And that's, look, that's impressive. Just from a content streamer host perspective, it's like, goddamn, you were kicked off everywhere and you still have a pretty decent fault. Like, Jesus Christ. But look at the stuff he's saying, man. Look at the stuff he's saying. I remember when he said it was Obama or Hillary, they smell like sulfur. He said Obama or Hillary was a demon. And it was proof when the fly landed on him or whatever. There was all sorts of, he kind of dabbled in the lizard people stuff for a while. He was getting into aliens recently. Intergalactic aliens communicating with us. Anyway, I guess he's got to keep working and he's got to go at it hard because homeboy's got a lot of money to pay. We know that from the court cases, so we'll see what happens. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.